Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're going to give folks about 30 seconds as people filter in. Just a few housekeeping rules. I think most people have entered muted, but if you are not muted, please feel free to take a few seconds to do that now, and we will get started shortly. Okay. So because we have a packed agenda today, I will sort of get us started a little bit early today. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful morning from wherever you're calling in for an ACEEE webinar. Today, we are spotlighting ACEEE's Mississippi Energy Efficiency Workforce Accelerator. ACEEE appreciates the generous grant from the W.K. Kellogg Foundation for support of the Mississippi Accelerator. We launched the Accelerator to connect and create resources for local workforce stakeholders to expand the local energy efficiency workforce, and we can't wait to tell you all about it today. So for those on the call who might be unfamiliar with us, ACEEE is a nonprofit research organization focused on advancing energy efficiency throughout all sectors of the economy. Our independent analysis has advanced investments, programs, and behaviors that use energy more effectively and really help to build an equitable clean energy future. So before we start our presentations, I do want to offer a few housekeeping announcements. The recording of the webinar and the presenter slides will be made available to all registrants within a few business days. If you'd like to ask a question to any of the presenters during the presentation, please submit your questions by using the Q&A button, which you can find at the bottom of your screen if you're joining on with your computer. If you see a question that you really like or you were also really interested in learning more about, please use the upvote option. That will really help me prioritize those questions during the Q&A segment. And then also, you can also use the chat feature, also located at the bottom of your screen, to connect with folks on the call, to network, and to talk with one another. So now I'd like to take a moment to introduce myself and our wonderful panel of speakers. My name is Roxana Ayala, and I work at ACEEE. I currently serve as a senior research analyst for the local policy program. Joining me today is Ramona Williams, the executive director of the Mississippi Communities United for Prosperity, Kaylin Brooklyn, the CEO and president of Refill Jackson Initiative, and Stratton Lubdell, who is a field operations with EC Green Homes. So today you'll hear about key findings from the Accelerator, including a workforce landscape assessment findings that shine light into the local training needs and market jobs, as well as how partnerships can help build capacity to bridge workforce gaps. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a wonderful panel of speakers who will speak to the successes and lessons learned on how to equitably train the workforce. Cool. So I'll be kicking off the series of presentations today. I'll be sharing more about ACEE's Mississippi Energy Efficiency Workforce Accelerator. So in 2022, we launched an Energy Efficiency Workforce Accelerator. We had three objectives for the Accelerator. A, to create workforce resources that stakeholders can use to scale the energy efficiency workforce. Two, to conduct a workforce landscape assessment to gain a better understanding of the energy efficiency workforce in two of the largest cities in Mississippi, which include Jackson and Biloxi. And then three, connect and support local-based organizations to train individuals for energy efficiency or industry adjacent careers. So as part of the Accelerator, we held convenings with over 20 workforce stakeholders, including state agencies, local government staff, utility staff, trainers, those in academia, and community-based organizations to really facilitate our discussions on the challenges they've experienced with accelerating the workforce and really encourage partnerships to pursue workforce opportunities. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the objectives for the Accelerator was to characterize the energy efficiency workforce in both Jackson and Biloxi through a workforce landscape assessment. And through this assessment, we hope to identify the skills gaps and challenges and really gather information to really inform a roadmap to scale the workforce. So we aim to really understand, again, the occupational and market trends for the energy efficiency workforce. We interviewed over 25 stakeholders and found the following themes. With the interest of time, I'm just going to mention two of them. So through the landscape, we learned that, or through the majority of our interviews, we noted that the workforce landscape could really benefit from increase in the local trades, such as like roofers and plumbers, considering the conditions of the current housing stock. Many indicated that many homes at the moment require pre-weatherization service, so really improving the health and safety of homes can really set up homes for energy efficiency measures in the future. Through the interviews, also revealed several challenges with hiring and retaining people for energy efficiency jobs. Again, with the interest of time, I'm only going to mention two really quickly. So a lot of stakeholders did indicate this need for more awareness and to really increase the interest of energy efficiency jobs among young adults or incumbent workers. Often they mentioned that they weren't really aware of these jobs or that these jobs were available. Another resounding comment was for the need for more soft skills training and or wraparound services. So for example, trainers indicated that while many trainers caught on really well with the technical trainings, many could still benefit from sort of that soft skill application to really enhance their skills in communication and time management. And so to bridge the workforce gaps found through the assessment, interviewees suggested a few strategies to really bridge the workforce gaps, one of which was on-the-job training. And they mentioned that really the on-the-job training portion really enables individuals to learn new skill sets and really apply them to real-life projects. This type of approach can also really prepare individuals to successfully perform job duties that are expected of them and help them build or boost their professional profile. So in the final stage of the Accelerator, ACEEE engaged with 3 organizations in Jackson to award them with a grant to support the development or implementation of their training programs. Each organization adopted a really unique approach to increasing the number of skilled workers, and we'll hear a little bit more about their approach in the presentations that follow. So to conclude, while this is a concluding phase for our project, we do know that while workforce gaps exist in the Jackson and Biloxi area, there's still a lot of potential to really scale the workforce. Especially, we learned that to successfully stand up a training program or just scale the workforce, that can really benefit from an established energy efficiency workforce development ecosystem, which includes all the different roles and stakeholders needed to really grow together to grow a robust workforce to advance sort of the energy efficiency workforce. So I know I went through that a little bit fast, but it's because we have great presentations. And so just want to thank everyone for my time, for your time and listening to our presentation. And now I'd like to welcome our first speaker, Ramona Williams. Take it away, Ramona.
Thank you, Roxana.
And as Ramona sort of sets up, just want to remind folks that if at any point you have any questions for Ramona's presentation, feel free to drop them in the Q&A portion. I know I sort of went briefly in my presentation, but if there's anything I can also clarify or provide more context, feel free to also put that in the Q&A. Happy to answer that. Cool. So whenever you're ready, Ramona. Perfect. We can see your screen.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. And Roxana, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to share our work and to ACEEE and also the Kellogg Foundation for making this opportunity possible for us. Our initiative is, what we're presenting today is on our Mississippi Zero Lead and Healthy Housing Solutions, closing the workforce gap to reduce lead exposures and improve healthy housing quality in the state of Mississippi. The project purpose is the Mississippi Zero Lead and Healthy Housing Solutions Initiative has identified systemic gaps in the state's lead poisoning and prevention and healthy housing program. The model is designed to reduce exposures to lead and elevated blood lead levels among Mississippi's BIPOC children and pregnant women by increasing awareness of lead hazards in environments where children live, learn, and play. In addition to addressing lead The model improves indoor air quality and reduces asthma and other respiratory harms and reduce energy burdens through energy efficiency technologies. And we also are focusing on building an impactful statewide coalition that conducts research, analyze policies and budgets, and make recommendations to improve overall housing quality in Mississippi. This project came out of 2 years of research and modeling that led to the Mississippi Zero Lead and Healthy Housing Solutions Initiative. And what we learned in that research was that 27% of Mississippi's children live in households with high housing cost burdens. 58% of BIPOC children are likely to live in poverty. A majority of housing was built prior to 1980 and may contain lead-based paint as compared to 77%, with 77% of the housing in our target area compared to only 42% of housing built prior to 1980 statewide. In 2018, 745 Mississippi children under age 6 tested and had elevated blood lead levels. Can't see. With 87 having had a blood level of 10 mg/dl or more, but the number of children exposed to and harmed by lead is even higher. An estimated 3,801 children, equivalent to 184 kindergarten classrooms, are exposed each year in Mississippi, contributing to increased costs or reduced lifetime productivity and increase in expenses or healthcare, education, and social assistance. Our research also showed us where there is a significant shortage of certified and trained lead assessors. The Mississippi Department of Health reported that there are only 4 certified lead assessors to cover the entire state, accounting for a severe shortage of certified lead assessors, or even fewer certified lead abatement and renovation, repair, and paint RRP workers in the state. And the median income of BIPOC women in the 3 pilot counties where we are piloting the initiative is dismal $21,000 a year. What is our solution? Our solution was to develop a model that would be a 2-tiered model that focused on workforce development, to create a certified labor pool of workers in lead abatement, mitigation, improving indoor air quality and energy efficiency, and green infrastructure. We would train and certify 40 fellows and improve housing quality, incorporating healthy housing principles and practices. What is the benefit to our fellows and also the community benefits? Poverty reduction. Our fellows will be compensated $500 weekly, a weekly stipend during the 12-week training program. We will provide wraparound supportive services, childcare, transportation, etc. Gainful employment. After the training, we will employ 30 fellows upon successfully passing their certification at $18 to $20 an hour plus benefits. Increase household median income by 45 to 50% among the fellows, and improve the social determinants of health, health equity, and housing quality by retrofitting 75 senior homeowners and unlicensed family child care providers in Grenada, Montgomery, and Yellow Bush counties. The reason why we're focusing on those rural areas is because that's where our work has centered around in the space, although we will be training folks from the Jackson community, and later on we will be implementing the model in the city of Jackson and zip codes 39209. And we will also improve child environmental health and reduce lead exposures among BIPOC children and pregnant women. Who are our collaborators? Of course, ACEEE, who help to fund our work and provide us with research in energy efficiency and policy. The Environmental Policy Innovation Center, EPIC, who provides us technical assistance on green infrastructure design, lead service line replacements, drinking water, SRFs. SRFs are the state revolving funds, budget, and policy analysis. The National Center for Healthy Housing, NCHH, is our lead partner on this initiative, and they are a 40-year organization that specializes in lead, indoor air quality, healthy housing research, and policy analysis. Mississippi State University will be providing the training for our lead assessors, lead supervisors, and lead worker trainings and certifications. And Southbase will be providing the training on energy audits, energy efficiency, weatherization, HERS training, and certifications. And I think we're going to be leaving questions unless for the Q&A session. And please feel free to contact me at any time. Ramona Taylor Williams, I'm Executive Director of MCUP, and there is our contact information.
Great. Thank you so much. Oh, no.
Lee, once again, for your patience. This motto went through several iterations until we got to this point, but it has been just wonderful working with you, and I look forward to future opportunities.
Thank you so much, Ramona. Thank you for a wonderful presentation and just for all the amazing work you do on the ground and with other folks. And so folks, if you have any questions for Ramona, feel free to put them in the chat. As she mentioned, this program did go through a few iterations. So I know Ramona has probably a lot of lessons learned of when designing the program, who to partner with, strategies to do so. So please feel free to put that in the chat. And I know Ramona would be more than willing to share her wealth and expertise in that design and implementation phase. So again, thank you so much, Ramona. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I'm excited to see the future of the program. And so next we have Caitlin will join us for her presentation. So whenever you're ready, Caitlin, take it away.
Hey y'all, good morning. Let me just get set up here. And okay, does that look right?
Perfect, yep.
Wonderful. All right, y'all, good morning. My name's Caitlin Brooking. I am the Executive Director at the Refill Jackson Initiative, and I'll be talking today about our newly launched Refill Jackson Green Corps. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Refill first. So our philosophy is that we believe that all youth, regardless of circumstances, deserve the tools to achieve stability, self-sustainability, and prosperity. Therefore, we implement youth-positive programs that provide instruction on life skills, on opportunities to practice skills, make mistakes, most importantly, and receive and respond to feedback in real-life settings, and receive professional support to address barriers to employment and self-sufficiency. So the population we work with here at Refill oftentimes come to us after being ejected from other systems, facing lots of challenges in their lives. 27% of our members have recently experienced homelessness. Some are splitting their energy trying to navigate the workforce, which is not designed for diversity of abilities. About 56% of our members self-report a disability, mental illness, or a history of trauma. Some of them are dealing with the fallout of disinvestment in our youth, in our community. 50% of our members do not have a high school diploma, and 71% do not have a driver's license. 11% of them have been involved with the justice system. So the space and freedom to dream about a better future for our young people is not equally available to all, yet it's absolutely crucial to change the trajectory of a young person's life. So our task at Refill is to create that space to dream. Okay. So we realized this vision through our comprehensive workforce training program, which include a 4-week intensive pre-employment program, followed by our 5-month Refill Jackson Green Corps AmeriCorps program, which launched on September 16th, not very long ago. So the 4-week program will take an individualized approach to rapidly stabilizing our members' living situations through our social services department, providing, providing classroom instruction and interactive activities on interpersonal and professional workforce skills, such as response to supervision, teamwork, and professional communication. And most importantly, a place to practice those skills and to make mistakes. So Green Corps offers the opportunity to practice those learned skills on the job, earn basic construction, environmental, and workplace safety credentials, complete community improvement, environmental, and energy efficiency projects for residents of West Jackson, while they continue to receive wraparound social services to secure stable housing, ensure food security, and access mental and physical health services through our social services department. All Refill participants will also receive continued follow-up and access to services for a year after they complete any of our programs. And our ultimate vision is to create a community of peer and professional support for the emerging workforce in Jackson, so that all young Jacksonians have the resources and support they need to enter and stay in the workforce right here in Jackson. So our Green Corps objectives are actually really twofold. We want to help young adults build careers in fields that they may not have experience in or know about, and respond to the things that need to get done to make our neighborhood a better place to live. So we designed this program starting with our own expertise and abilities. We know how to serve young adults, and we started working on these projects that have been designed for citizen scientists. So they don't require a complex set of skills on the front end to complete, but we also want to visibly improve the conditions of West Jackson neighborhoods and teach and practice some basic skills, especially in construction and in environmental work, as well as energy efficiency, to lead to immediate employment or short-term training. So we're working with young people who may not have completed high school or have only completed high school, and trying to build up their skills and experience so they can move immediately into the workforce for a self-sustaining career. Okay. So just a little information about who our members are. These are the basic requirements to be in the program. You've got to be 18 or older. It is an AmeriCorps program, so there's a few additional requirements. For Refill, all we require is that you're 18 to 24 and you want to be here. But for the AmeriCorps component, the Green Corps component, you've also got to be a U.S. citizen, permanent resident, or U.S. national. They either have to have a high school diploma or be working towards it while they're in Green Corps, which we offer an avenue for them to earn a GED while they're in our program. And we do a national service criminal history check. So these are the benefits for the Green Corps members. It's a 5-month program. So we've got 2 team leaders and 6 Corps members currently serving. They do earn a modest living stipend while they're in the program, and these caps are set by AmeriCorps. So they're getting, the team leaders are serving for 10 months and they're getting $14,000, and the Corps members get $5,000 for their 5-month service. Team leaders can also receive health insurance, which is very uncommon with our population. Most of them are totally uncovered by health insurance, so we're able to do that through this program. Upon completion of Green Corps, they earn an education award, which they can use towards qualified student loans, current educational expenses, or tuition moving forward up to 7 years. While they're in the program, they're also getting student loan deferment and or forbearance. A lot of our members have started community college, maybe didn't finish, so they've got loans kind of hanging out there. So they're able to make some headway while they're in the program, or at least they're not accruing additional interest. As I mentioned, we do wraparound social services. We have a licensed social worker on staff, and he works one-on-one with every member to meet their needs. The majority of our members need either stable housing, access to mental health or physical health services. And another big need that we meet is vital documents. A lot of our members either lost or don't have access to a driver's license or social security card. And as you probably know, that's really important to get a job. Can't start a job without an ID. So we do that here. We offer career coaching. We have a career coach on staff who works one-on-one with members. We do offer some credentials through a partnership with Hines Community College. They're earning OSHA 10 certification in our program, as well as first aid and CPR. And we also are working with the Mississippi State Extension Services to do biological and chemical water quality monitoring on Lynch Creek, which is our waterway through our neighborhood. Again, they can earn a GED, and they get that work experience and leadership experience through the AmeriCorps program. So for the first year, which started on September 16th, so we are right in the beginning of that, we'll have 2 crews of 8 members each who work for 5 months. Some of the projects we have already started doing are water quality monitoring. We've been doing some marking of stormwater drains and learning about stormwater control and flood management. We will be working on rain gardens this year and reducing flood mitigation. And we're also working on some partnerships looking at energy efficiency and basic construction. One of the findings that Roxana mentioned was that a lot of the homes in our area need some basic construction before they're able to make those energy efficiency upgrades. So we're working with the city of Jackson to start meeting the need at that level. We're really focusing on the pilot for this round, learning what crew members need and what we can teach in 5 months. And also we're focused on West Jackson. That's proximal to us. We're based in West Jackson, and that's a neighborhood with high need in this area. So that's what this year looks like. Currently, these are all of our partners. It really takes a village to do a project like this. So we've got both funders, training partners, and project partners right now. And I see Dr. Herbert on the call, so I'm glad you're on here because I wanted to highlight one of the growth opportunities that we are working on. We have we're working on a partnership with JSU's Urban Planning Department to launch this Energy Literacy and Resilience Workforce Training Program. So this is a partnership between us implementing our pre-employment program, where our members will complete the Smart Start curriculum and earn their National Career Readiness Certificate. And we're also doing intake for wraparound social services. And then JSU has put together partnerships with some of these partners listed here: Entergy, Mississippi Power, Solar Gems, Sundial Solar Power, and others to work on energy literacy skills and technical skills for these members. So instead of going into Green Corps, or instead of going into AmeriCorps, the members would be going into more of an internship-based program working on these skills for the energy tech industry. And we'll also be using those partnerships for mentoring and networking and job placement. So these are the kinds of partnerships that launching Green Corps has enabled us to move into and start talking to. In the coming years, we plan to expand the size of the crews and engage more young people at a time, and expanding the area served. probably into South Jackson first, and then the metro area, the whole metro area. Another ability we'll have is to add skills and capacity for different types of projects. We're focused on environmental projects and energy efficiency right now, but we are also looking into healthcare as well, which obviously would not be energy efficiency, but a pretty strong area of workforce for Jackson and a good opportunity for young people to move into sustainable jobs. We also plan to add a disaster response component to the Green Corps program so that we're able to respond to tornadoes, floods, and some of the other fun things that we experience here in Mississippi. Our kind of reach goals for the program are to include tree work, not only for disaster response, but also potentially to assist the power companies. I know there's another program in Memphis that works with power companies to clear trees for power lines. We want to focus on the water infrastructure. We've really already dug into that. But if you don't know about Jackson, we are currently having a major overhaul of our water infrastructure system, and we want to prepare our young people to take those jobs once that project is complete. Of course, energy efficiency. I mentioned working with the city of Jackson to prepare homes for energy efficient upgrades. We'd also like to train our members for energy audits to assist some of the contractors in the area. And lastly, disaster response. So we have some big goals, and our focus is really on working with disconnected youth. So the Green Corps project has really allowed us to start finding the boundaries of what's doable and trainable in 5 months and how we might need to reach to really get these young folks into our future workforce. So here is my information. If you'd like to give me a shout, and thanks for your time today.
Yep. Thank you, Kaylin, for a wonderful presentation. Like I said, it's been a pleasure working with you the past year, learning about your work, and just thank you for your presentation, all you do to help the youth and really move them into pathways for jobs. So really awesome. And great. So now, like I said, if you have any questions for Caitlin, feel free to use the Q&A button. I know, Caitlin, there was one question particularly in the chat. You want to look at that in the meantime as well. But for now, we'll move on to our next guest speaker who will close us off. I'd like to welcome Stren. If you're on the call, great. You can share your screens whenever you're ready. Cool. Awesome.
I am, but I'm going to have to lean into y'all, so please share my screen up. My internet connection is pretty unstable where I am. So
no worries. Andrea, can you share Stren's screens, please?
And just let me know when it's up, and I'll I'm ready to go to the next one. The first slide, not a whole lot to talk about there.
Let's see. Okay, perfect. Whenever you're ready, Stren, and just feel free to just say next slide or something. Yep, we're good to go.
Oh yeah, let's just go to slide 2. So, just a quick background about who we are. Easy Green Home is an implementer. We work under a lot of utility programs across the East, and we work a lot with ICF. I think a few of them are on the call, although anybody who's on the call, so hello to those who are. Easy Green Home does a lot of energy audits. We also do duct seal, AC tune-ups, a variety of different energy efficiency measures within utility programs. And one of the things that we do is we train everybody within our company through BPI, Performance Institute, and it's a good baseline understanding of how a home functions. So when we hire somebody, or case because we worked through this grant, we had the opportunity to provide training to a bunch of people who would otherwise probably not have gotten it, and got them BPI certified. This allows them to understand how a home works, what are the areas to focus on for energy efficiency and to make them a functional person who can work within the industry. And that involves understanding of a lot of different aspects. And go to the next slide, slide 3. We look at how the home functions as a system. Where's the airflow? Worry about humidity. We worry about safety. BPI also has a lot to do with safety. I know we were talking about lead abatement earlier. Within BPI, we think more about combustion safety. And within the city of Jackson, almost everybody uses gas to heat their water and to heat their home. So combustion safety is a big deal. And what we did with our grant, and I'll get into this a little bit more, was to take some people through this certification process. But BPI is the baseline that we used to be the certification, and because they provide a very good structure for building performance understanding and for safety. And in West Jackson, which is where we do a lot of our work as well, that is a big concern. And if any of y'all have ever ridden down a street in West Jackson, you've seen abandoned houses, you've seen burnouts. A lot of those are due to the fact that people don't have a house that is either safe or efficient. So what we were working on was putting people into the marketplace who can understand that and who can help customers understand what they need to do to improve their homes. We go to slide 4. So with this training, the folks who went through it came out on the other end with a good understanding of what the industry standards are in terms of code to some extent, although I think, and we've talked about this before within our group, but for the wider audience, Jackson, Mississippi has very little code enforcement, if any.
Right.
So, it's very common for us to come into a home, and we work as a contractor under the Entergy Mississippi programs, working for ICF. We go into hundreds of homes, probably thousands of homes every year, and what we most often see is that work is not done very well. And we often find gas flues disconnected. We often find electrical work that's not done to code and is dangerous. Find a lot of homes that are, as we go down the street, we see a lot of burnouts. And what we did with this grant was to train people to recognize those situations and to be able to let the customer know about those. And they're learning to do it using equipment that is not all that common in Mississippi. I think when we started work in Mississippi 4 years ago, whatever it was, there might have been 10 BPI certified people in the whole state. And we have probably at this point certified 40. And there just wasn't a good understanding of what was the right way to build a house and to maintain a house. So these certifications brought people up to basically a standard where they could go to any market and be able to work. But obviously we're focused in Jackson, Mississippi. If we go to slide 5, please. So these folks who come through this program, that was funded by this grant, came out of it with a much deeper understanding of building science, better understanding of safety, and they are ready to work at whatever level, whether that's a supervisor type role, and they've got people working under them who are doing, carpentry, plumbing, HVAC, or whether they're actually out doing the work themselves, which a lot of the folks are who came through our program. Everybody's ready to go. They've got a good understanding of what's necessary and how to apply those skills. If we go to the last slide, the outcome of this training, the initial plan was to certify 7 people, fully funded, no cost to them, no cost to their employer, to get them up to a standard where they're ready to work in the energy efficiency field. Working with ICF, they provided us a training facility, basically. One of the guys on ICF's team allowed us to use his home as the training area. So rather than having to rent a home or go to a training facility, we were able to do that in a single-family home in the Jackson area. That cut down some costs and allowed us to put an 8th person in. So we did fully certify 8 people. And everybody passed their test. Mike Mongold, who's a local resident in Jackson, lives over in Central Jackson. He is the trainer. He works for our company as well. And so not only do we certify people who work in Jackson, but we use a local trainer. And he does work across the East, so he's not just there, but he does live in Jackson. It was a little bit of a challenge to keep track of everybody. We originally got the class list, the participation list, through partnership again with ICF. They recommended folks from different companies, some of whom work in the energy efficiency industry already, some of whom work in the HVAC or plumbing industry, and this added to their skill set. And when I checked in last with these folks about a month or so ago, 7 of the 8 trainees are still working specifically in the energy efficiency industry, most of them working for trade allies who are under the Entergy Mississippi banner, doing audits, doing HVAC tune-ups, but then able to apply that knowledge beyond. I think at least one works also for one of the local community colleges doing maintenance work, and this allowed him to expand his understanding and be able to do more within that role. One person sort of fell out, but she's still applying the knowledge that she learned. She's now working at Home Depot, which, that's not a loss, I think. So I feel like we had, if not 100%, close to it, success rate with the folks we brought through, which is pretty exciting. And that's kind of what we did. I mean, this is a very functional type of approach. I really like that there are some other wraparound services and soft skills training that may have come from other areas. That's not what we did. We just went right in to the meat of training people become functionally adept at doing work within the energy efficiency. So that was our take. Anybody have any questions? Happy to answer them. But that was good.
Yep. Thank you so much, Stratton, for closing us off. And just really, it was also a really pleasure working with you throughout the week and learning really from the technical side, yourself as a trainer and just being in the field for many years. It was really awesome to learn from you throughout the year. I recognize that this webinar is sort of the concluding phase for this accelerator and this project, but here at ACEEE, we are looking forward to continuing to explore opportunities to really build this work forward and really to continue to stay engaged with our local partners and stakeholders. And we're also just equally excited also to keep up with the presenters and the work that they're doing and the amazing work that they will be doing in the future to really, build that pipeline of workers ready for to do this type of work. And so now with the remaining time of our call, which is great, we're on time, I'd like to move us to the Q&A session. So thank you to those who have already submitted questions. I see that some of our presenters have begun to answer those questions, so thank you all for being so on top of it. I do see that we have a hand raised from Mary McPherson, so maybe we start there. Mary, if you're able to come off mute, you're more than welcome to do so now. Yep.
Roxy, I just wanted to congratulate you and the team on such a great project. It's really exciting to see how it's unfolded and the partnerships you all have built. So congratulations to everyone in Mississippi and ACEEE on such great work.
Great, thank you, Mary, and really thank you for setting the foundation for us to do this work. So kudos to you as well. Appreciate it. All right, so we can move on to the Q&A. And just as a reminder, all the slides will be shared after the call and the recording as well. It will take us a few business days, but it will be there. There are a few questions that remained unanswered, I believe. Let's see. So there's one question specifically about upcoming federal funds. So anyone would be willing to, anyone from the presenters can definitely feel free to answer this. But the question is, you know, how do you see leveraging some of the benefits of the IRA, the federal funds, to advance your programs? If so, like, how do you see that role or those funds moving your forward your program and their goals? So why don't we start with there, I guess? And Ramon, I see you have your hand raised, so you want to kick us off?
Yes, we are in the last stages, the final stages of submitting our CCG application for the Mississippi Zero Lead and Healthy Housing Initiative on the workforce development side and also on the retrofitting of the homes. So we're definitely submitting. We're looking at putting our application in by the second week in November, down to the wire here on the deadline. So yeah, and then there's other opportunities that we will be applying for grant makers and several other, and in preparation for next year for the HUD Healthy Housing and Lead Abatement Program. So absolutely, we are going to be taking, and we are taking advantage of the federal funding that is out there, but also looking at the state of Mississippi, you know, and the state of Mississippi can do better, and they should do better relative to putting funding into state funding into improving the overall housing quality and quality of life for our people in Mississippi.
Great. Thank you, Ramona. Do the other panelists want to add on to anything or provide anything?
We're busy out working in the field. We're counting on ICF to do the heavy lifting there. On that.
Yeah.
Bring it to Entergy, and then we just go out. It's done.
Great. Cool. I know there was also a few questions about wraparound services and soft skills. So for the panelists who have that integrated into the program or plan to do so, I was wondering if you can maybe just give one or two best practices or strategies that others can consider as they, you know, are in the process of designing or considering incorporating that, just to give, you know, two best practices on what has worked for you and maybe what didn't work, but you found a solution for.
Sure, I can speak to that. So we provide pretty robust wraparound services, and we do it through partnerships. We have a full-time social worker on staff, and he spends most of his time case managing each of our members. We do a pre-assessment before they start and identify their kind of priority needs. And then he does a lot of work to connect them with other agencies. So for example, you know, we get a lot of homeless members. So we usually have to rely on our housing partners to navigate through that process for members to have stable housing. And our age range is kind of like in limbo between different kinds of programs that they're eligible for. So we have young mothers with children, you know, that's a whole series of partners. And then there's like young men who are homeless, people who have come out of the justice system. So our social worker really does one-on-one kind of unique work for each member. I guess the best practice there is to keep it small, keep the program small, or, you know, another route we've taken is to limit which services we say we can provide. So when we first started, you know, we were like, we can't provide childcare assistance and we can't provide transportation. But we quickly found that if we did not do that, we were not reaching the population that we needed. So we started providing transportation ourselves to the program. It's still a barrier after the program. So somebody asked about employer partnership, and we have had a lot of conversations with Nissan, you know, Continental, all these big local employers, but they're outside of the city of Jackson, and our members physically cannot get to work every day. So that really is a limiting factor in what the members can do after our program. You know, we can train them all day, but if they can't get to work every day, you know, if they can't get to work. So, you know, we have to work individually with each member, and it is truly a wide spider web of service providers that we maintain relationships with to provide wraparound services.
Great. Thank you, Caitlin, for those insights. Anyone else want to add to that question? If not, I can maybe piggyback a little bit on sort of that recruitment process. I'm curious to hear from either Stratton, Ramona, or Caitlin, sort of the, I know Stratton, it was a little different because ICF sort of filtered those individuals, but curious to see if you have any insight into like the vetting process or how that was done on ICF, and maybe some lessons learned or just best practices for sort of vetting those candidates or recruitment, but for others on the call, you know, if you're also willing to share maybe a lesson learned or a strategy for recruitment, you're more than welcome. So, Stratton, I don't know if you want to share a little bit about the recruitment from ICF, or if you have insights to that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I think this was probably, if anything, this was one of the gaps for us was how we were recruiting. And I think if we were to do it again, I would probably lean into the partnerships with the two other presenters, have them bring us people. We did, I mean, I feel like what we did was successful, and it's improved the workforce in Jackson specifically, but I don't know that we necessarily hit the most underserved people. We trained people who either already had a job or this was part of their hiring process. And so yeah, I think it overall served the larger goal of the program and of this project. But it would be nice to be able to find people who are really where they're starting at zero, and we could get them somewhere where a lot of these folks already had some level of understanding. Now that said, I think that the success rate would probably be a little lower if we really were recruiting from folks who don't have a car, don't have a GED, don't have really any starting point to work from. But it's arguable there whether is it better to take somebody who has none of the the benefits of a starting position and take them to somewhere where they can have an opportunity, or is it better to take somebody who's already had the initiative to get out there and is interested, and then to help them level up? So if there's a lesson learned there, I think it's and we talked about it a few weeks back, and we're talking about what's the success rate. And so for us to say, all right, so yeah, we had 100% of the people who came through our training ended up in a better position and are working, but they already kind of were. Is it better to say we've improved 100% of our class, or is it better to say, hey, we started with really raw material and brought 50% of them up to a better place? So I think that's one of the things I've been thinking about with this. And what's a better way to approach it? Is it better to say, hey, the people who had the initiative already, make them better, or is it better to take people who really starting at zero and
Yep.
get them a leg up. It's food for thought, I guess. I mean, I don't know what the right answer is there.
And if I can piggyback on that, you know, I see the work as complementary. Like there's space for both those
Mhm.
approaches, you know, and I think what we're doing is kind of starting from that like ground up piece, but you know, it's a pipeline. So I think we need partners doing all of this work all at the same time. We need policy people pushing for policy. We need job training within these fields so that, you know, already trained people can move into the sector. And then we need to continue pumping people into the entry level position. So, because I mean, even if we get young people employed in an entry level job, like if they can't move up, then they're still stuck there. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with Stratton, and I think everybody kind of plays a role here in that work. And I'm glad to see the three of us are all kind of at a different space there, and that's pretty cool.
Yep. Ramona, go ahead. You might be on mute, Ramona. There you go.
Yes, in the development and modeling of our initiative, we looked at and factored in all as much as we possibly could from looking at relieving any barriers that would be prohibitive from the fellows, and we couldn't call them apprentice because we're not a certified Department of Labor apprenticeship program yet. We will be. So we looked at transportation. I think it was back in, was it August, Caitlin, that you did your launch? Back in August, I really learned a lot about the wraparound services, although we had some discussions around it. But we did and conducted surveys, and that transportation was a major issue and a major hindrance, especially up in the rural communities. Even in Jackson, where I live, where it is an urban environment, we do have a public transportation system, although needs to have some improvements. But up in the rural areas, you just don't have that. You know, we don't have that public transportation. So within our application, we included to purchase 2 vehicles, 2 15-passenger vans. And we're working across 3 counties, so we will be able to transport and move folks around, get children to childcare, you know, working with unlicensed childcare providers who in our communities, we know that our families rely on one another to provide childcare. So it's just so critical to try and relieve. I say relieve because yes, ultimately the goal is to eliminate, but that's a process. But to relieve the burden and those obstacles that keep folks from moving ahead, moving in a forward motion. We're doing it a little bit differently. We're going to actually be the employer and train our workforce to do the jobs, the work on the homes and everything like that. But I think it is going to, it's a journey, right? It's a journey.
Yes, absolutely. And I know we're almost at the time, so I just want to take a moment again to thank our presenters for joining us and sharing their workforce program and all the work that they do. And again, also thank the WK Kellogg Foundation for supporting this work. As you all saw, these organizations are doing amazing work. And like I said, we can't wait to continue to, follow their journey and learn from them. And we ourselves as an organization can't wait to continue this work as well and look for other opportunities. But with that, I know we're at the time, so we'd like to thank everyone else for joining us on this call, and hopefully you took a lesson learned or something, or a strategy to apply to your community, and together, I know we can move the energy efficiency workforce forward. So again, thank you all for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.